Hello and welcome to the first edition of the Supreme Court of India e-Diary. The Premier Court of the nation has a well-defined set of duties and responsibilities. However, it is largely unknown that the Supreme Court of India shoulders the responsibility to introduce integration, consistency and cohesion not only in the judicial framework but also among the citizens of the nation. When one flips through the leaves of the Supreme Court's calendar, one would not only find dates reserved for court proceedings, but also for certain events and functions through which it interacts with government bodies, foreign envoys, students and other such wings that are indispensable to the running of the nation. These interactions come with good reason. During these functions, eminent members from the Supreme Court fraternity, along with other judicial moguls, create legal awareness and propagate legal education among the people. These comprise the secondary duties that they comply with, often beyond the walls of the Supreme Court building. Let's glance through some of the landmark events, providing enough reason to believe that the Supreme Court is not limited to a desk and a gavel to execute its duties right.
Commemorated on the 26th of November every year, Law Day marks the birth of the Indian Constitution. The Supreme Court Bar Association celebrated Law Day 2015 at the Supreme Court premises.
Government has designated today as the Constitution Day, but since 70s, Supreme Court Bar Association has been celebrating this day as the Law Day.
After spending 166 days over 3 years, this Constituent Assembly, comprised of these great men and women, approved the draft Constitution on November the 26th, 1949. That's the Law Day's significance.
The importance is that I would say that the Constitution really set out the path to be followed by a sovereign democratic republic, which is India.
In a democratic country like India, judiciary plays a vital role in governing a welfare society as the custodians of fundamental rights and freedom of citizens.
Access to justice must be an all-pervasive ethic that informs all levels of judicial system and must be implemented in a concrete manner, having regard to the particular problems and challenges of the Indian polity, foremost among which is pervasive lack of legal awareness.
Several awards and accolades were distributed to honor the efforts of the judicial staff. The event's highlight was the release of a film produced by Doordarshan on the Supreme Court titled Truth Alone I Uphold by the Honorable Law and Justice Minister D.V. Sadananda Gowda and the then Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice H.L. Dattu.
The truth alone I uphold. This is the essence of the true spirit of the upholder of justice in India. The Supreme Court of India, the third pillar of India's democracy. The body that has the last say in the most controversial, difficult, yet critical issues in the land. What the Supreme Court decides binds every citizen of the country. It is the upholder of the preamble of our Constitution. A memorable date in the history of the Supreme Court. On this indelible date, the senior-most Supreme Court judge, Justice T.S. Thakur, was sworn in as the 43rd Chief Justice of India. Gracing the occasion with his presence was Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with his cabinet ministers and other esteemed dignitaries.
Chief Justice of India, Shri Justice Tirath Singh Thakur.
I, Tirath Singh Thakur, having been appointed Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India, having been appointed Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India,
do swear in the name of God.
do swear in the name of God.
The oath, taken in the name of God, was administered by the Honorable President Mr. Pranab Mukherjee in a brief ceremony in the Darbar Hall of the Rashtrapati Bhavan.
And that I will uphold the Constitution and the laws.
And that I will uphold the Constitution and the laws.
Congratulating you.
On the 10th of December 2015, the National Human Rights Commission observed Human Rights Day, inviting all states and interested organizations to share the responsibility of upholding human rights. The event witnessed the benign presence of the Honorable Justice T.S. Thakur as the chief guest. Accompanying him and elevating the dignity of the event was the Minister of State for Home Affairs, Kiran Rijiju.
67 years ago, on 10th December 1948, the General Assembly of the United Nations adopted and proclaimed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Considering the worldwide historic significance of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 10th December is celebrated as Human Rights Day every year.
International Human Rights Day marks an important milestone in the realization of human rights for all the citizens of the world. It is therefore a solemn occasion for all of us to reflect on the journey that we as a nation have traversed so far and the future path we need to chart to make human rights and dignified existence for all a reality.
The Indian judiciary, as we all know, has played a key and important role in expanding the ambit of human rights and ensuring access to justice to the most disadvantaged sections. The Indian Constitution has also shown itself to be flexible, evolving and responding to changing times, thus making our Constitution a living document rather than a closed and static rule book.
The Bar Council of India, in alliance with the Bar Council of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, organized the annual Lawyers Meet 2015. The congregation spoke on the subject Public Litigation Policy, Access to Justice and Environmental Law.
A very famous author, in his preface to the commentary on the American Constitution, commented that it is an intentionally incomplete and deliberately open-textured document for participatory evolution of democratic practices. Well, I think it's part of the lawyer's technique. Even the topic for today is like that. Public litigation policy, access to justice and environmental law. And it's an open-texture thing. Anybody can read whatever he wants into this.
When we actually speak so far as access to justice is concerned, there are two cues which are very, very important. First cue is quality. Second is quickness in the entire process. Access to justice, have many courts, tribunalization, etc. Unless and until there is a substantial change in our approach to the matter, in our approach to the entirety of the situation and the contextual nature of that matter as against the interest of the society, nothing is going to change.
We must all keep in mind that a person comes to the court out of right, not out of the charity of a judge or not out of any permission given by the lawyers or somebody else. No, they have a right under the Constitution. So if they have a right under the Constitution to seek legal redress of their issue or grievance or problem, as an institution we have a duty to respond to that.
The scope of litigation
or the locus standi has been liberally expanded so as to give access to justice to all the poor, disadvantaged and the deprived people. For that, the lawyers will have to play a role of social engineering, bringing out or espousing the cause of all the poor and the disadvantaged sections of the people.
Public interest litigation has played a very, very crucial role in shaping our society, in shaping our polity, and in taking the country forward. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when public interest litigation was in its infancy, we did not have issues of this kind. But today, all of us are talking about them, all of us are discussing them, all of us are debating them. And this is the only way in which we can actually move forward.
(2015) marked the golden jubilee year of the Indian Council of Arbitration, ICA. On this special occasion, it organized an international conference on the subject Arbitration in the Era of Globalization.
ICA today is deemed as the apex arbitral institution in the country.
Prominent arbitration experts from India and abroad embellished the event with their humble presence and participation.
Sir, we have the best of the judicial mind, we have the best of the judges, we have the best of the lawyers in the country. I don't see any reason why the arbitration will not flourish in India. Sir, the arbitration will flourish in India if we have the support of the government and if we have the support from judiciary. And sir, today from this platform, I seek your support that let the institutional arbitration flourish, let India arbitrate.
Arbitration has to be taken seriously because our judiciary has fallen into a great paradox. It is recognized, our judiciary is esteemed and recognized as extremely honest, efficient, hardworking.
Please welcome Justice T.S. Thakur.
The judiciary, right from the top till the bottom, is always very, very supportive of arbitration as a means of resolution of conflicts. And therefore, we would do anything that will make effective this alternative mechanism of dispute resolution.
Thank you, sir, for your extremely strong suggestions, your endorsement and your advice. We have to, as a nation and as a business organization and as a country, and in all our systems, address this issue and ensure that we can do it in a better, quicker, and more judicious manner.
A conglomerate of 5 growing economies of the world, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, or BRICS, frequently indulges in organizing events that strengthen the dialogue between its member countries. BRICS Law organized a seminar on strengthening of BRICS towards a robust dispute resolution mechanism. The seminar was declared open by the Chief Justice of India, and attendees included dignified representatives of the BRICS nations.
The year 2015 admitted a rather exceptional date. On this first of its type date, personages from different backgrounds and professions assembled for a book release event.
The Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice T.S. Thakur, to release the books. But the first book that we are releasing is Of Life and Me. This has a compilation of articles that have been written over the years by Judge Saab. The second book, which is True Story of a Fight Against Cancer by Justice J.L. Gupta, The Ringside View.
Chief Justice, I don't know how you feel about releasing books, but when long ago Mr. L.K. Advani, then Deputy Prime Minister of India, was asked to release a book in Delhi, he said something that was widely reported in the newspapers the next day. This is what he said. The word release sounds sweet to me, because when we were in jail in 1975, during the internal emergency, we used to hear that someone was released and we used to get very happy. Ever since that time, I readily agree to release books, since the word release gives me a sense of relief.
The ringside view, the true story of a fight against cancer, reminds me of a couplet. It says, रंज से खूगर होकर इंसान तो मिट जाता है रंज, मुश्किलें मुझ पे इतनी पड़ी कि आसान हो गई. This is the substance of this story, that come what may, Justice Gupta put up a very, very brave fight. What is life after all? If you were to ask Allama Iqbal as to what life is, he says, जिंदगानी की हकीकत कोहकन के दिल से पूछ. कोहकन इज पहाड़ काटने वाला जो पहाड़ काटता है. जिंदगानी की हकीकत कोहकन के दिल से पूछ, जुए शीर तेशा व संगे गरा है जिंदगी. बंदगी में घट के रह जाती है ये जुए कम आब, और आज़ादी में बहरे बेकरां है जिंदगी. You see, you must have heard about the story. Shirin Farhad की story थी. Shirin's father was a king. He told Farhad that yes, you can have Shirin as your wife, provided you cut a canal through the mountain. जुए शीर, दूध की नहर लाओगे तो तुम शीरीं से शादी कर सकते हो. जुए शीर इज द अल्टीमेट ऑब्जेक्ट है, क्या अचीव करना है आपने. जुए शीर, वो तो मैंने नहर लानी है दूध की. तेशा इज द मीन्स, द इम्प्लीमेंट्स दैट यू विल यूज. तेशा, क्योंकि आप पहाड़ काटोगे तो उसमें से वो जुए शीर लाओगे. तेशा वह संगे गरां है जिंदगी. संगे गरां आर द ऑब्स्टिकल्स. सो if you look at life philosophically, one can say not only in the matter of your finding a career in life, but also life itself is full of objects, means, and the obstacle.
The two books, a collection of the writings of the former Justice of the Kerala High Court, Honorable Justice Jawaharlal Gupta, were very well received by avid readers. Justice Jasti Chelameshwar, Judge, Supreme Court of India, interacted with the scholars at the University of Wisconsin, USA, where he delivered a lecture on selecting judges for a democratic India.
I was a member of the bench which considered the legality of the Constitution 99th Amendment, by which the Constitution was amended, making certain alterations in the original text of the Constitution regarding the procedure by which judges to the Constitutional Courts of India are chosen or appointed. In that connection, I had to study that problem very intensely. And in the very recent past, hardly a year back. Therefore, this topic, speaking on this topic would make my job a little easier. Therefore, I accepted this idea.
The 17th of December 2015 marked the 125th anniversary of the 30 Hazari Court Bar Association, also known as the Delhi Bar Association.
So welcome the Honorable Chief Justice of India, Dheeraj Singh Ji Thakur.
An eloquent speech was delivered by the Chief Justice of India at the event, in which he acknowledged the many qualities that make a good lawyer.
एशिया में ये सबसे बड़ी बार एसोसिएशन है. लेकिन इसकी सही ताकत इसमें है कि आपने बेहतरीन वकला पैदा किए हैं, बेहतरीन वकील पैदा किए हैं। अच्छा वकील वो है जो कानून अच्छा जानता है, अच्छा एडवोकेट जो है वो है जो अच्छी तरह केस को पेश कर सकता है। आपकी कोशिश ये होनी चाहिए कि कानून तो आप जानते ही हो, आप जैसे सीखते हो उसको प्रैक्टिस करते हो, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ आपकी एडवोकेसी भी इम्प्रूव करे। अगर ये दोनों चीज़ें आ गई तो आपको ऊंचाइयों पर जाने के लिए कोई नहीं रोक सकता, आप ऊंचाइयां छुओ।
He also had the privilege of releasing a coffee table book compiled specially for the occasion.
The year 2015 was a rather eventful year for the Supreme Court, with the Chief Justice of India and other judges of the court actively attending and rendering edifying speeches at several conferences and convocations. The esteemed judges of the nation left no stone unturned to inspire, instill and encourage the nation for a better future in the judicial framework. The year concluded with events such as the celebration of the Law Day, release of the film by Doordarshan, observance of the Human Rights Day, and most importantly, the historic day when the Honorable Justice H.L. Dattu, after his successful tenure serving the Apex Court, retired from his office, and the Honorable Justice Tirath Singh Thakur succeeded him as the Chief Justice of India. A transition that emitted rays of new hopes and renewed aspirations for a new and prosperous year. With this, we shall now advance towards the events that dot the Supreme Court's calendar of the year 2016 to observe how year after year the Supreme Court plays its part as a guardian and promoter of justice at several occasions.
On 5th January 2016, Justice T.S. Thakur graced the book release function of Justice G.P. Singh's book, Principles of Statutory Interpretation, revised by Justice A.K. Patnaik. Former Attorney General of India, Soli Sorabji was the guest of honor of the event. Another book, Miscellaneous Law Referencer by Justice B.S. Chauhan, was also released on the occasion. Earlier this year, the members of the Bar Council of India and its chairman hosted an opulent gratification and felicitation ceremony in the honor of the Chief Justice of India.
Friends, today the representatives of lawyers from various parts of the country have assembled here to felicitate and welcome Honorable Mr. Justice T.S. Thakur on his appointment as the Chief Justice of India. Some of the quotations of Honorable Mr. Justice Thakur. There is no need to fear as long as judiciary is independent and rule of law prevails. Our judiciary is capable of protecting the rights of all sections of people.
When His Lordship expects every minute, every day to be utilized like 10 days, one day should be like 10 days. Expectation is a lot from the bar. Judges themselves cannot just cut short the arguments and go on deciding the cases in hurried manner. That is not the function, as stated by the Honorable Chief Justice in very first speech also, and we know, as we know him, he hears every case very patiently.
We have got an outstanding person as our Chief Justice, and we have to give all cooperation and we have to work together as one family in ensuring that whatever are his dreams, whatever is his vision for the welfare of the judicial system, the legal system, and this nation, we should come together and help him in achieving his vision.
The Chief Justice of India, touched by this gesture, also seized this event as an opportunity and took to the dais to remark on the current status of the legal profession in the country.
The Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, or ITAT, celebrated its Platinum Jubilee with a 2-day celebration. The event attracted the attention and presence of several pertinent members of the Indian judiciary, and the esteemed President, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, inaugurated the event.
Department of Post is issuing commemorative postage stamp on ITAT of denomination of ₹5.
Income Tax Appellate Tribunal was set up in the year 1941 to decide income tax cases under the Income Tax Act 1922. The process of tribunalization of justice system has slowly but inexorably grown to cover more and more areas of dispute resolution.
The higher judiciary in the country. So also I think in the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, one of the major problems that has been experienced over the years is the difficulty or the delay involved in filling up of the vacancies. Now this delay in the filling up of the vacancies is bound to affect adversely the working of the tribunal. It's very gratifying to note that the time period which the tribunal takes ordinarily for disposal of appeals is between, let us say, 6 months to 2 years, which is in comparison to the ordinary judicial process in the High Courts and the Supreme Court, very encouraging. But then this could be further reduced if the appointments were to come timely.
Over the years, Taxation Department has responded to meet the challenges through capacity development. The rising disputes in these areas call for trained manpower in both the tax department as well as in the tax judiciary to keep India globally competitive in tax judiciary system.
Advocating pristine legal practices and appreciating meritorious law students is also a job well done by the eminent personalities of the Indian judicial framework. A recent instance to be cited is the third convocation ceremony of the Rajiv Gandhi National Institute held at Patiala.
Honorable Mr. Justice T.S. Thakur, Chief Justice of India and Chief Guest of the convocation, sir, I request your honor to kindly award the academic medals to the candidates of LLM course.
Justice A.R. Dave, Judge, Supreme Court of India, and visitor R.G. NUL, Punjab, presided over the event. Justice Shia Waqs Jal Wazifdar, Acting Chief Justice, Punjab and Haryana High Court, and Chancellor R.G. NUL, Punjab, conferred the degrees on law students. Speaking on behalf of the judiciary was Justice T.S. Thakur, wherein he educated the aspiring lawyers of the institution with lessons on ethics and self-respect.
The Prime Minister of India, the Chief Justice of India, judicial minds from India and abroad, and other dignitaries gathered at Vigyan Bhavan on the 4th of March 2016 to hold an international conference on the rule of law to discuss sustainable development goals that make a vital appearance in the 2030 development agenda. The Prime Minister inaugurated the event
The theme of this conference, make a genuine effort in collaborating with UNEP for the first time in India to provide a platform for a comparative deliberation and analysis of various persisting environmental issues and formulate a roadmap effectively achieve the Sustainable Development Goals.
On 25th of September 15, the UN General Assembly formally adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, along with a set of bold new global goals, which Secretary General Ban Ki-moon hailed as a universal, integrated and transformative vision for a better world.
We have 17% of human as well as cattle population, and both require food, water and land. And we have only 2.5% of the land. And we have only 4% of fresh rainwater resources. That means there are constraints, and we have to operate within these constraints with both senses, that is sense of responsibility and sense of proportion. We have to function in our own domain. That will make India a sustainable India.
We as a responsible nation state will also have an important role to play. And in that role, I think the ultimate struggle for a balance between an ideal ecology and a growing economy will have to be met. One at the cost of the other would not survive and would not make India a very sustainable nation itself. And therefore, how do we do the balancing act? We rely on your wisdom to discuss this and to come out with solutions.
Several important dimensions of the challenges that the world faces today are slated for deeper deliberations in the course of this conference. Issues touching the role of social and economic considerations to deliver on environmental justice, dynamics of international environmental law and jurisprudence, natural resource of laws and development discourse, waste management, a global issue with domestic roots, pollution, an ever-expanding concern of public health, and emerging issues for international environmental laws, followed by panel discussions will, I am sure, greatly contribute to sharpening our focus on these areas of concern and throw up solutions that would go a long way in our fight against environmental degradation. I wish this conference success and thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to share my views.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now have the release of the National Green Tribunal's International Journal, and may I please request Honorable Prime Minister to kindly release the same.
Friends, I have always felt that anything which is not sustainable cannot be called development. In our culture, development means Bahujan Hitay, Bahujan Sukhay. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Santu. And Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. This cannot happen unless the development process is inclusive and sustainable. Anything which compromises on the ability of future generations to meet the requirements cannot be called development.
Your presence with us is a clear demonstration of the testament of your dedication and commitment to the cause of sustainable development. Will take revolutionary measures, transformative actions for the fulfillment of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The judiciary and other stakeholders will play a key role in advancing the rule of law for achieving the 2030 Agenda and Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you all very much. Naya Nanya Vaden.
Curtains came down on the centennial celebrations of the Patna High Court on 12th March 2016.
माननीय श्री नरेंद्र मोदी माननीय प्रधानमंत्री से आग्रह है कि शताब्दी तोरण का अनावरण अपने कर कमलों द्वारा करने की कृपा करें।
It is a matter of great honor that the first President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, were the distinguished members of the bar of Patna High Court. 29 honorable judges of Patna High Court have been elevated to the Supreme Court. It's a matter of great satisfaction that 3 learned judges have adhered to the office of the Chief Justice of India.
100 साल का गौरवपूर्ण इतिहास रहा है पटना उच्च न्यायालय का। हर बिहार वासी के लिए ये गौरव का दिन है। पटना उच्च न्यायालय के जो न्याय निर्णय हैं उनकी काफ़ी अहमियत रही है और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि पटना हाई कोर्ट की जो एक स्वस्थ परंपरा है वो परंपरा और मजबूत होगी।
It is also time for us to do some introspection. We cannot be complacent. We cannot sit over the laurels of the past. We need to constantly evolve, and we need to constantly realize that there are challenges ahead. With literacy increasing, with prosperity increasing, with awareness increasing among the people, their craving for justice will also increase. And the courts will, in times to come, receive more and more cases and thereby come under greater and greater stress. This is where I think we need to make a common cause. Judiciary is always committed, but we need the assistance of the governments for not only an increase in the infrastructure that we require, but also for constant financial support for maintenance of those infrastructures and institutional requirements.
पटना हाई कोर्ट के शताब्दी का ये समापन कार्यक्रम है। एक प्रकार से नई सदी की जिम्मेवारियों का आरंभ है। गत शताब्दी ने इस हाई कोर्ट ने जिन ऊंचाइयों को प्राप्त किया है, जिन परंपराओं के द्वारा सामान्य मानवी में एक विश्वास पैदा किया है, जिस कार्य संस्कृति के द्वारा समाज में आशा बनती चली गई है, उसमें से जो उत्तम है उसको कैरी फॉरवर्ड करते हुए पटना की अगली शताब्दी, इस हाई कोर्ट की अगली शताब्दी कैसी हो, उसकी नींव मजबूत रखने की जिम्मेवारी यहां उपस्थित सबकी है। जिस व्यवस्था के पास एक शताब्दी की विरासत हो, वह देश को बहुत कुछ दे सकते हैं।
A sprawling state-of-the-art, iconic new building of the Lucknow bench of the Allahabad High Court was inaugurated on the 18th of March 2016 in Lucknow in the presence of the West Bengal Governor Kesari Nath Tripathi, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav, the Uttar Pradesh Governor Ram Nayak, and the Chief Justice of India also attended the ceremony, marking his presence to admire the spectacular building.
मुख्य न्यायाधीश श्री उच्चतम न्यायालय की ठाकुर साहब आज डेडिकेट करते हुए मैं उनको और आपको एक शेर नजर करना चाहता हूं। साथ बढ़ते रहे कदम, कुछ यूं ये मुलाकात चले, हर मंजिल हो जाए आसान, जो मिल के हम तुम साथ चले। फर्ज है, फर्ज के मरासिम से पाबंद हैं हम भी और तुम भी, यूं ही चलते रहें जब तक जुर्म और जफा की सियाह रात चले।
भारत के मुख्य न्यायाधीश माननीय न्यायमूर्ति श्री टी.एस. ठाकुर साहब से गुजारिश है कि इस अवसर के लिए तैयार की गई पट्टिका का अनावरण करने की कृपा करें।
लखनऊ पीठ के इस भव्य भवन के उद्घाटन के अवसर पर उपस्थित होकर वास्तव में प्रसन्नता हो रही है। यह भवन सबसे उत्कृष्ट न्यायपालिका के भवनों में है।
माननीय उच्च न्यायालय इलाहाबाद की लखनऊ खंडपीठ का अपना एक गौरवशाली इतिहास रहा है और आज इस गौरवशाली इतिहास में एक सुनहरा अध्याय जुड़ गया है जब लखनऊ खंडपीठ के नए भवन का लोकार्पण किया जा रहा है।
आज के दिन हम सब लोग मिलकर ये संकल्प करते हैं और अपनी इच्छा शक्ति के आधार पर कि सुलभ न्याय और शीघ्र न्याय यही न्यायपालिका की सबसे लिटमस टेस्ट कोई है तो यह होनी चाहिए।
मैं सोच के तो आया था कि अंग्रेजी में बात करूंगा, लेकिन जब आपके चीफ जस्टिस को उर्दू बोलते सुना तो लगा कि शायद नामाकूल जगह होगी अंग्रेजी बोलने के लिए। और उनकी शायरी ने तो उनकी तकरीर को चार चांद लगा दिए। इसलिए सोचा कि जम्मू कश्मीर के अलावा और कोई एक अगर जगह है जहां मैं उर्दू में बोल सकता हूं तो वो सिर्फ लखनऊ है और लखनऊ है। लखनऊ एक बहुत खूबसूरत और बड़ा तारीखी शहर है। यहाँ की हसीन शाम के मुतल्लिक तो सुना था, लेकिन आज इस हसीन सुबह को देख के बहुत खुशी हुई। मुझे मालूम है मेरे वालिद यहाँ जब 1951 में LLB करने के लिए यहाँ दाखिल हुए लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी में, तो जब वो वापस आए अपनी वकालत शुरू करने के लिए और बाज़ औक़ात वो कहते थे कि लखनऊ के अदब का कोई मुकाबला नहीं, वहाँ तो गालियाँ भी बड़ी खूबसूरती से दी जाती हैं। तो हमने पूछा कि साहब वो कैसे हो सकता है कि गाली भी दे और खूबसूरती से दी जाए? तो वो कहने लगे कि ऐसे कुछ गाली दी जाती है, अगर माँ बहन की गाली देनी हो तो ये कहा जाता है कि जनाबे मन अपनी लगाम को ज़रा काबू में रखिए, अपनी ज़बान को काबू में रखिए, ऐसा ना हो कि आपकी वालिदा मोहतरमा के खिलाफ मेरी ज़बान से कोई नाज़ेब अल्फाज इस्तेमाल हो जाए। मुझे बहुत खुशी है, मैं समझता हूँ कि सारे हिंदुस्तान में नहीं बल्कि सारी दुनिया में इससे बेहतरीन कोई मौका नहीं हो सकता जबकि जुडिशल सिस्टम को इस किस्म का एक बेहतरीन तोहफा गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से मिला हो, जिसमें हमारे लिए फ़ख्र की बात हो और उन तमाम आदमियों के लिए जो इंसाफ के लिए दर होते हैं उनकी कोई उम्मीद जो है वो पूरी आए। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, भगवान आपको सुखी रखे और इस बड़े हाल में, इस बड़े इंस्टीट्यूशन में आप वकला साहबान फलो फूलो और आप ही की वजह से इस इमारत को और इस इंस्टीट्यूशन को आइंदा के लिए नशो नमा मिले, ये मेरी ख्वाहिश है और मेरी दुआ भी है। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा।
The torchbearers of justice and law carried out their duties yet again in April this year when they attended the 16th convocation of University of Jammu.
For the award of
degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
Congratulating the scholars at the university were the Vice President of India, Dr. Hamid Ansari, who was the chief guest of the event, and Jammu and Kashmir Governor, Mr. N.N. Vohra.
Now I request the Honorable Chancellor to please confer the degree of Doctor of Laws on Mr. Justice Dheeraj Singh.
Here at the university, it wasn't just the merit holders receiving the awards, but also the Chief Justice of India, Justice Thakur, who was conferred with the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa of the university.
I was reminded of the Urdu couplet. उम्र दराज लाए थे मान कर 4 दिन, 2 आरज़ू में कट गए 2 इंतजार में. This is the second time that I have been honored by a university with an honorary degree in Doctor of Laws. The first came in Lucknow, but the flavor of a distinction like this, my own alma mater, is something different. I would only say that I'm deeply grateful for this great honor. On this occasion, while I pay tribute to all my teachers, I dedicate this honorary degree to them and to my parents. Thank you very much.
This is indeed a special occasion. The university is honoring one of the most eminent sons of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, whose achievement is but a rarity and worthy of celebration. After all, it is only the chosen few in the calling of law who climb the ladder to the very top in the highest court of the Republic to join the galaxy of men and women who have presided over the Supreme Court of India.
The day of the convocation is a particularly momentous historical occasion for the students. This day marks the culmination of their hard work, imbibing knowledge, passing examinations. This day also marks the beginning of a new phase in the lives of the students.
A Supreme Court's Judges Retreat was organized at the National Judicial Academy, Bhopal. A premier institution for judicial education, research and training. The opening speech at the inaugural session of the retreat was delivered by the President, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee. Contributing to the retreat with their expertise were Union Law Minister Shri D.V. Sadanand Gowda and Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh Shri Shivraj Singh Chauhan. They, along with the judges of the Supreme Court and experts from the government, briefed the attendees on important national issues that deserved immediate attention.
On behalf of the Ministry of Law and Justice, Government of India, I'd like to welcome you all. The joint annual conference of Chief Justices of High Courts and Chief Ministers of States was held this year at the Centre. This joint conference of the Executive and Judiciary is held every year to discuss various steps required to surmount challenges facing the judicial system. The Chief Justice of India, addressing the gathering with a speech, was overwhelmed by sentiment.
I remember when I was in 5th standard or 6th standard, there used to be a paper of arithmetics. वो पूछते थे सवाल कि अगर एक सड़क 5 आदमी 10 दिन में बनाते हैं तो वही सड़क अगर 1 दिन में बनानी हो तो कितने आदमी चाहिए? And the answer used to be 50 आदमी चाहिए. 38,68,000 केसेस को निपटाने के लिए कितने आदमी चाहिए, कितने जज चाहिए? ये बात हम क्यों नहीं समझते? The Indian judiciary processes about 5 crore cases every year, out of which 2 crore cases are disposed of. But there is a limit. There is a limit to a judge's performance, that is, capacity to perform. What cannot be done by 2,000 or 20,000 judges in 5 years, if you want us to dispose of the total number of cases in 2 years, it is impossible. The only remedy is to add to the number of, to sanction courts, to raise the judge population ratio to at least 50 judges per million, as was recommended way back in 1987 and as has been accepted over the years by the governments, successive governments. I am extremely grateful to the Law Minister for giving me this opportunity to share my views. I somehow feel that if nothing else has worked till now in terms of improving the conditions of the judiciary, an emotional appeal may work. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Thank you, Your Lordship. I now request the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, to please address the gathering.
भारत के सामान्य नागरिक को आज भी न्याय व्यवस्था पर पूरा भरोसा है। भरोसा क्या, एक आस्था है, श्रद्धा है, और ये हमारे देश की बहुत बड़ी पूंजी है। हम सबका दायित्व बनता है कि इस आस्था को हम बरकरार रखें, उसको हम बनाए रखें, ताकि कभी भी सामान्य मानवी के जीवन में ऐसी स्थिति न आए कि अब कहाँ जाऊं। एक जगह है जहां उसको विश्वास है कि मैं जा सकता हूं, और वो स्थिति बनाने में सरकार की भी बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेवारी है, और मुझे विश्वास है कि सरकार अपनी जिम्मेवारियों को निभाने में कभी भी कोताही नहीं बरतेगी। आपने जो बातें बताई वो बड़ी महत्वपूर्ण है, और उन महत्वपूर्ण बातों का रास्ता भी तो खोजना होगा। सिर्फ मैं सुन करके चला जाऊंगा, ये ऐसा मैं इंसान नहीं हूँ। मैं उसको सीरियसली लेकर के कुछ रास्ते खोजने के प्रयास करूंगा। सफलता तो अलग बात है, लेकिन कोशिश करनी चाहिए।
The Supreme Court of India is the torch-bearer of the judicial system of the country. One may assume that this tenacious job would be led by an aversive individual capable of withholding sympathetic emotions. But quite contrary to popular belief, our venerated Chief Justice of India, Justice T.S. Thakur, vitiates all such assumptions. At several occasions in court hearings, we have observed this strong-willed man getting overwhelmed by emotion, drying a teardrop, or even rendering speeches with a gulp in his throat and a heavy heart. Every judge of the Supreme Court brings along with them their expertise. Fortunately for us, our beloved Chief Justice of India brings with him sense, sentiment and sensibility. Indeed, a very busy year for the Supreme Court and its members. The year still has a lot more in store for us. Let's move ahead now to get to know some of the highlighted social engagements of this year.
Chief Justice of India, Justice Tirath Singh Thakur, graced the third convocation ceremony of National Law University Odisha, NLUO, at Cuttack on 7th May 2016. The Chief Justice of India enlightened the gathering with his words of wisdom. He praised NLU Odisha and referred to it as a premier law institution, meeting law academic requirements of the eastern part of the country. While addressing the successful students, he urged them to act as agents of change and help people irrespective of their caste, creed and gender. The ceremony was held at the amphitheatre of the university, where students were conferred with degrees and gold medals for excelling in their respective disciplines. Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik, Supreme Court Judge Justice Deepak Mishra, Chief Justice of Odisha High Court Vineet Saran, NLU Odisha VC Sri Krishna Deva Rao and other dignitaries were present on the occasion to congratulate the outgoing batch.
The Odisha High Court celebrated the completion of 100 years since it first sat as a circuit court of the Patna High Court.
Today, we are celebrating the centenary of the initial presence of the circuit bench of the High Court in Odisha.
The permanent High Court for Odisha was established in 1948. This court has produced many outstanding judges, of whom we are really proud.
This is an occasion when we ought to dream. I too have a dream, not only about my own country, but maybe about the world. A world which is in the true sense Vasudeva Kutumbakam. But there is also a dream for our own country, a dream where justice should not be denied, delayed or sold to anyone. A dream where lawyers are truly and sincerely friends of the court or the cause of justice and not mercenaries looking for promoting the interests of the person who has engaged them. A dream where judges are free from want and consider judgeship not as a source of livelihood, but as tapasya. A system which ensures even to the poorest the ability to fight even the mightiest, and the difference between the two on account of poverty is eliminated because the system is responsive and sensitive to the need of giving justice to everyone equal-handed. These are dreams. These may remain dreams for a long, long time. These are not ambitions, and I feel the difference between an ambition and a dream is that an ambition is achievable, but a dream may remain a dream. This may not happen during our lifetimes, but there is no harm in you dreaming for a state, for a situation or an era in which justice is made easy, speedy and affordable to everyone in this country.
Type of work that each one of the judiciary has done, I think many lawyers, many members of the bar have seen it, but it's been something amazing over these last couple of weeks, the way that everyone has worked.
The National Academy of Legal Studies and Research, Nalsar University of Law, Hyderabad, hosted its 14th annual convocation program. The itinerary of the event included conferring of medals and degrees to deserving students.
Announce that Tanya got 16 gold medals. Now I read out donors' names. Honorable Justice Umesh Chandra Banerjee Memorial Gold Medal for the most outstanding student of the batch with the most consistent overall excellence in academics and extracurricular activities.
I have with me a written speech, but having seen the atmosphere here, I can safely depart from the tradition of reading out a written speech. Legal profession was never considered to be very rewarding. Legal profession was considered to be a lifelong struggle. नशेमन नहीं तेरा कसरे शाही के गुंबद पर तो शाही है बसेरा कर पहाड़ों की चट्टानों पर. The importance of this couplet, that you don't have to go and land in a multinational law company's plush office. You are supposed to prepare yourself for a greater fight, for a more principled fight, for a greater challenge that lies ahead of you. I think this university prepares you for a greater challenge. I was reminded of another couplet. आज़ादी की रूह जब बेदार होती है नौजवानों में तो नजर आती है उनको अपनी मंजिल आसमानों में. You are the best that this country has to offer to legal profession. I'll be very happy to see all of you as judges, because I feel that of all the professions that humans have adopted on this face of this earth, of all the professions, but I can tell you that for all these professions, if there is one profession or one job that I think stands above them all, is the job of doing divine justice, because you are literally the deputy. There's nothing higher. There's nothing higher and more valuable or more satisfying than to be doing what God Himself was supposed to do. The destiny of the people of this country who look to you, to the judicial system for administration of justice, is in the hands of younger people like you.
Justice Thakur also released a collection of books on the occasion.
On 10th August 2016, the Supreme Court of India organized a sensitization program in its premises.
I wish that this program and the programs to be followed will go a long way in creating the required or necessitated awareness among the advocates concerned and all concerned.
ये बताइए मैं कहाँ रही इतने दिन आप?
सर कुछ फैमिली प्रॉब्लम्स थी.
The program aimed to create awareness on the code of conduct that govern the integration and interaction of men and women in workplaces.
इसीलिए हम आपके लिए गिफ्ट भी लेके आए.
यार मैं बॉस के कैबिन में गई थी, कुछ फाइल्स पे साइन करवाना था, पर वो तो मेरे साथ सजेस्टिव बिहेव करने लग गए. गलत टच किया क्या तुझे? क्या गलत टच करेंगे या बैड लैंग्वेज बोलेंगे तभी मैं कुछ बोलूंगी? वो जो भी कर रहे थे वो मुझे पसंद नहीं था. I don't feel comfortable.
चुप्पी तोड़ो, अपना सम्मान बचाओ रे. पुलिस कप्तान कलेक्टर सदैया पीछे झूठी पंख लगा कर भागो रे.
I realized that Vishaka guidelines is more than grievance redressal. It empowers the individual woman, as we saw today, to decide the standard that is applicable to her. What is the behavior that I find uncomfortable? Not women as a whole or another woman, not the reasonable woman, but me. I should not feel uncomfortable. That's also a huge change because it really empowers the most powerless amongst women.
Handbook listing articles, acts and other such regulations were released by the Chief Justice of India.
It requires a lot of courage for anyone to fight for the rights, and therefore the fight becomes so much unequal if there is no mechanism to address these issues. I'm very happy to say that while the law has been settled by this court, by the Supreme Court in Visakhapatnam, which has benefited very large number of women folk who are now working, who are coming out of their households to work, to earn their livelihood, support their families and children. I was looking at the paintings here. I believe some of them may have been, these pictures may have been painted by some children. So I was only wondering that if in the next sensitization program, we could ask the children of our staff members, we could have a painting competition, children of our staff members, the mothers, their children could perhaps paint and make an appeal to the colleagues of their mothers and their relatives here not to, you see, do anything which is inappropriate, not to harass them. I'm sure an appeal coming from the children that my mother has come to work in your office, please make sure that you don't harass her, will be more effective than any amount of lecture or speech that we may deliver. I'm sure you will continue supporting this sensitization program and spreading the message far and wide.
रीति की जंजीरें खा गई जंग, प्यार के मंदिर भी हो गए भंग, ज़माना चले ना चले मेरे संग, बोलूंगी हल्ला आवाज दबंग, बेखौफ आजाद है कहना मुझे, बेखौफ
The Supreme Court of India celebrated the 69th Independence Day on the 15th of August. The historic building was decorated with strings of light bulbs on its exterior, making it look elegantly incandescent. A banquet of distinguished Supreme Court judges and the Chief Justice of India and other guests was held right outside the illuminated Supreme Court building to celebrate the event.
Shimla, on the foothills of the Himalayas, received its very own National Law University this August. The capital city of the state of Himachal Pradesh was honoured to host the presence of the Chief Justice of India and Chief Minister of the state, who laid the foundation stone of the campus and the hostel block of the Himachal Pradesh Judicial Academy.
Training of judicial officers, as we all know, is very important because it increases their efficiency, it helps in speedy administration of justice, quick disposal of cases, and that is possible only when you have a center where they come, they exchange their views, they learn about the latest developments. National Law University is an added feather in the cap of the state. I'm very happy to say that there are only 17 or 18 national law universities, and there was no reason why Himachal should have lagged behind. It has been conceived of, and it has been now, the first step is taken, the ordinance is issued, the foundation stone is laid.
The Honourable Chief Justice of India was felicitated and duly lauded by the Himachal Pradesh High Court Bar Association. The Chief Justice of India received recognition for his superlative work ethic and magisterial persona.
I will dedicate one couplet with my Lord's permission. रख वो हौसला वो मंजर भी आएगा, प्यासे के पास समंदर भी आएगा, मत रुकना ए मंजिल के मुसाफिर, मंजिल भी मिलेगी और मुलाकात का मज़ा भी आएगा. I will now most respectfully request Honorable the Chief Justice of India to kindly enlighten today's
Endeared by the praise, the Chief Justice of India enthralled the audience with a jocular speech, receiving cheers and much applause.
May I tell you that my association with this High Court goes back to almost 40 years. Some of the younger members of the bar may not have even been born at that time. So I have a very, very long and very intimate and very fond association with this court. And I have always treated this as an extension of my own court, the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir. And I always thought that if ever I were asked to shift to another court for practice, I would shift to Himachal Pradesh, to Shimla. I had a client by the name Jagraj Singh Jamwal. He was the son-in-law of Dr. Y.S. Parmar. He was an IFS officer. He was a very jovial person. He used to say, Thakur sahab, बहुत बड़ी गलती कर दी आपने, हिमाचली लड़की से शादी कर ली। और उससे भाई क्यों आपने भी की है, मैंने कौन से कहा नहीं, ये हिमाचली लड़की हैं, इनमें एक प्रॉब्लम है। मैं कहा क्या प्रॉब्लम है? कहा ये अपने मायके की तरफ खींचती हैं। That खिंचाव continues with me also. But I don't think that has succeeded, but the way you have dealt with me and the affection with which you have treated me, I'm sure I'm likely to migrate to Himachal Pradesh very soon.
Himachal Pradesh University, HPU, celebrated its 23rd convocation on the 20th of August. The Chief Justice of India, Justice T.S. Thakur, was the chief guest of the event, and the Governor, Himachal Pradesh, Acharya Devvrat, along with the Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh, presided over the ceremony. On this auspicious occasion, Justice T.S. Thakur was conferred upon with the degree of Doctor of Laws by the Governor. After which, the esteemed panel awarded meritorious students of different academic fields with doctoral, master degrees, certificates of honor and gold medals. In a dialogue with the students at the function, Justice Thakur congratulated the students and stressed upon the degree holders and medal winners to work more dedicatedly and serve the society with a missionary zeal.
I never thought that I will, even without being a formal student here, be accepted as an alumni by being conferred this honorary degree of Doctor of Laws. And I consider myself singularly lucky to have joined such distinguished scholars who have received their degrees today and such large number of gold medalists. May I share with you the secret that I have in my life never won any gold medal. And if a person who has been so ordinary that he never won any gold medal can become the Chief Justice of India, I am sure that all of you who have won gold medals will go far beyond me. My dear students, that go out into the field, step into your life with a mission in mind. We have challenges. We have challenges not only as a nation, we have challenges at every step within the society, at home, and at the marketplace. And those challenges need to be addressed, handled, and dealt with a lot of fortitude. We of our generation are now slowly phasing out. The future lies in your hands, and we have great hopes on you. I will once again wish you all success in making of your future and the future of this country with a smile on your lips and spring in your steps. May you carry the future forward by contributing to the building of this nation in as large a measure as you are capable of.
The National Legal Services Authority, NALSA, in association with the Delhi State Legal Services Authority and the Bachpan Bachao Andolan, organized a national workshop on the rehabilitation of missing and trafficked children on the 22nd of August 2016.
Swagatam, 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 swagatam. ये अतिथि गणो हमारा नमन है अतिथि गणो हमारा नमन.
It is an honor for all of us of the Delhi Legal Services Authority to ensure access to justice for all.
The state of children in any given point of time is the reflection of past, present, and future of any society. If the children are not safe, not happy, not healthy, it shows that we are failing our past and we will be failing our future. We had a very clear objective that we wanted to create a child-friendly society, a child-friendly politics, a child-friendly economics, a child-friendly business, a child-friendly faith institution.
Unfortunately, I don't know why we are unable to protect our assets, especially when we know that our assets are being rusted now. And I'm happy that NALSA has taken this issue very seriously, and therefore, one of the schemes which has been initiated last year pertains to protection of children. And I'm more happy to know that this workshop will be of great help to all NGOs and all government officials in protecting these children.
The figures provided by the National Crime Record Bureau, NCRB, 90,654 children went missing in 2011, out of which only 34,406 could be traced. There is any failure on our part in the sense that we have never perhaps considered the use of technology. If you recover a child in Delhi, now the child is unable to even tell you as to from where he has come. So if you have a report lodged, let us say in Guwahati, saying that somebody has lost his child, and there is a child recovered in Bombay or in Maharashtra, technology should today be able to tell you immediately whether it is the same child. That photograph should be on the system, and the recovered child should immediately be available on the system to match whether he is the child, and the person can be immediately restored to the parents.
The highlight of the event was a play staged by the children, exhibiting the status and the challenges in the repatriation and rehabilitation of trafficked and missing children in the nation.
The Premier Court of the country is, beyond a grain of doubt, one of the busiest institutions of the nation. Despite the ascending number of cases in the apex court, it still manages to operate like a well-oiled machine, making no compromises whatsoever. Have you ever wondered how this is made possible? It is not a coincidence, rather a thoughtful plan that all the events concerning the Supreme Court requiring the attendance of the Honourable Chief Justice of India or his contemporaries are organised mostly on Saturdays and Sundays. This ensures that such events and functions of equal importance to the court do not impede the functioning of the court. This distinctly points towards the remarkable fact that the Honourable Chief Justice of India and other judges of the Supreme Court function for a full week of 7 days. During the 5 days of the week, that is Monday to Friday, they dispense justice behind the walls of the court, and during the weekends, which is Saturday and Sunday, they engage in activities outdoors. By now, you must have gauged that the judges of the Supreme Court can be understood as being synonymous with the word omnipresent, being present everywhere, and rightly so. We shall now look back at certain other events and functions of the year that simply strengthen this opinion.
The Malimat family invited the Mughals of judiciary to the Justice V.S. Malimat Memorial Program. Honorable Mr. Justice Tirath Singh Thakur graciously agreed to deliver the memorial lecture.
Justice Malimat. He was a man of great rectitude, a great vision, and had made his mark on the judicial landscape at a very young age. The kind of contribution that he made to the development of law and to the reform of law is commendable, and I think that contribution will be always recognized and will remain etched in golden words. A month before my elevation, my appointment as Chief Justice, I rang him up to make a request to him that he must come because he was one of those benefactors that I had, whom I wanted to be present in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. He promised, he said, yes, he will come. In fact, he had come a little earlier and came to kind of share his feelings. He said he has never gone to a person who was tipped to be the Chief Justice to advise him or to inspire him, but somehow he felt that he should do that to me. That was a singular honor that he gave to me. He shared his vision about what can be done, what ought to be done, but then told me that while everything else will go on, one thing I must ensure is that I must enjoy my tenure. That was, I think, the most difficult part of the advice, as I realized in due course that, well, getting appointed is easy, but living up to the expectations of the people is so much more difficult. I feel that one thing that has really helped me is the inspiring words of all those seniors and benefactors whom today I remember and pay my tributes to. The subject for today's memorial lecture, which happens to be the first lecture, I believe, is tackling the backlog of cases. Now, this is a subject on which Justice Malimat has worked extensively. Justice Malimat's priceless contribution through his reports on areas which pile up, as he pointed out, due to insufficient judicial manpower, finances and infrastructure at all levels of the constitutional institution called the judiciary. Constitutional legality demands of the legislature and the executive an efficient and effective judiciary to ensure constitutional governance in a fast-changing world where the computer takes over human functions and automation combined with artificial intelligence replaces the human being. The accelerated rate of this change makes timely justice meaningless. I thank you all for the enduring patience of hearing me out this evening. God bless you and thank you very much.
The premier National Law School of India, Bangalore, honoured its prodigies of the year 2015 in its 24th convocation this year. Congratulating the students and blessing them with a bright future were the Honorable President of India, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, Honorable Chief Justice of India, Chief Minister of Karnataka, and other prominent members of the legislature and judiciary.
Where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake, where words come out.
I now declare the convocation open. Let the candidates for the various degrees and diplomas stand forward. Do you sincerely promise and declare that if admitted to the degrees and diplomas for which you are candidates and for which you have been recommended, you will in your daily life and conversation conduct yourselves as worthy members of this university? Let the candidates be now presented. By virtue of the authority vested in me as the Chancellor of the National Law School of India, University, Bangalore, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws, LLD of this university.
Dr. Ishwar Bhatt, Dr. P. Sri Sudha, PhD degree, Doctor of Philosophy. Candidates taking the degree of Master of Laws in person will please stand forward. Revered Chief Guest, Honorable President of India, Sri Pranab Mukherjee sir, to award the gold medal winner. Honorable President of India, Sri Pranab Mukherjee sir, I have the honor to request you to deliver the convocation address.
NLSIU has consistently been number one in most survey conducted of law schools in India. Its students, alumni, and faculty members have established for themselves an excellent reputation in the country and abroad for their knowledge, intellect, character, and leadership skills. I convey my best wishes to all of them and I congratulate them. When I was distributing a gold medal for excellent performance of the students, I was wondering, it was almost entirely captured by the girl students, and whether a time has come for providing the special reservations for the minority boys. It's truly an encouraging event that young girls are coming forward, and not only coming forward, they are excelling themselves in beating all others. I wish them to lead this nation for the coming decades with success, grandeur, determination, courage and conviction. Dear students, I am confident that all of you will fulfill the hopes and expectations of our nations by becoming professionals who are competent, technically sound, and socially active. Always uphold the Constitution and contribute your utmost to our nation as it addresses the imperatives of the new millennium. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Hind.
The Faculty of Law of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Tri-Centenary University, Gurgaon, organized an orientation program. the event was graced by the esteemed presence of Justice D.Y. Chandrachud.
Law combines both the science and an art. There is the science of a discipline. It's not a science like the natural sciences like physics or chemistry. But law is a science because it combines the science of a discipline. There is an internal discipline about law. But law is also an art. Why is it an art? It's an art because the law deals with the pursuit of happiness, the pursuit of well-being for everyone in society.
A regional conference on strengthening, restoring and rehabilitating children in the juvenile justice system was organized by the Supreme Court Committee and the High Court Committee with the support of the UNICEF. Guest speakers at the conference included Justice Madan B. Lokur, an eminent judge of the Supreme Court of India, and the Chief Justice of India.
If there is one person who is fully protected, it is the child. Is fully protected, and yet he is not protected. Why is he still being abused? Why is he still being sold, purchased and forced into labor? The answer is poor enforcement of this law. If there is good governance in this country, would you be required to supervise? System would immediately work on its own. The government should be conscious of the fact that this is something that needs to be done. Why do you need High Court judges to tell the government, you are not appointing the boards, you are not filling up the vacancies? Because somebody somewhere is not sensitive to this problem. We would not have bothered. The Supreme Court would also not bother because there are so many things that are happening. After all, every problem, every challenge that the government or the system faces can't be solved by us. There was a petition the other day, they wanted that I should direct that all the footpaths should be cleared of encroachments. All roads should be clear of encroachments. So I asked that petitioner, I said, you are asking me to do something, see, which the municipality ought to be doing. If the municipality is sensitive, why should the municipality not get the encroachments cleared? If my order, one order were to solve everything, I would say, there shall be no corruption in this country. There shall be no offense committed by anybody in this country. Everyone must perform his duty and then rest at home, because that order, anybody who disobeys will be in contempt, and therefore, you see, you can always punish anybody. People of this country have the greatest hopes from the judiciary. They look up to you. And that gentleman whom I was telling, please take back your petition because I am not inclined, because I cannot take this burden on clearing footpaths in a PIL. He cried. The way he cried, he said, this is the last place where I can come, this is the last hope. If you also throw us out, where shall we go? And so on and so forth. So I was in a dilemma. I thought one way is, all right, go by your feeling and dismiss it. Tell him, all right, go wherever you want to go. The other is, all right, maybe the least I can do is adjourn this matter till January, so that... So I said, all right, I'll adjourn it to January. The children sector is one area. We cannot, whatever the criticism, it may come from any quarter, but I think not only on moral and ethical and human grounds, but also the constitutional obligation that you owe towards protecting the rights of the child and the declarations that are made not only internationally but in the Constitution. We need to do whatever little we can do. We have set up recently a research center in the Supreme Court, a center that will monitor implementation of the resolutions that are passed in the Chief Justice's Conference. We would not wait for the next Chief Justice's Conference to find out what happened. We would like to constantly remain in touch with the Chief Justices and the judges concerned to get feedback as to whether something is being done. And if it is not being done, we would like to kind of remain associated with the high courts so that the high courts remain sensitive to the need for action.
A Belgian delegation, led by Honorable Mr. Etienne de Groot, met judicial representatives from the Supreme Court of India on the 7th of September 2016. The delegation held one-to-one meetings with legal dignitaries of the nation and focused on the exchange of innovative ideas and solutions to tackle challenges in the area of justice and law.
A holy Bhumi Pujan ceremony was performed to invoke God's blessings for the Commercial Dispute Resolution Center and a commercial court building at Naya Raipur on the 10th of September. Performing rituals at the Immaculate Puja were the Honorable Chief Justice of India, Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, Chief Justice of the Chhattisgarh High Court, and other distinguished personalities of the judiciary.
The Chhattisgarh State Legal Services Authority organized a one-day workshop on the protection and enforcement of tribal rights on the 10th of September 2016. The workshop was a grand success.
It is really a matter of great privilege for me to welcome all of you on this great event where one of the schemes introduced by National Legal Service Authority known as NALSA, Protection and Enforcement of Tribal Rights, is going to be discussed for effective implementation.
It is a great pleasure that we have with amongst us the Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice T.S. Thakur. It was he who was chairman of the NALSA and researched 7 schemes for the upliftment of the poor and the downtrodden. And one of these schemes was for the protection and enforcement of tribal rights.
ये अनुसूचित जनजाति के लोग प्रकृति के पुत्र हैं। पहाड़ों में, गिरी में, कंदराओं में जिन्होंने इस न केवल पर्यावरण को संरक्षण दिया, प्रकृति के पुत्र के रूप में मैं उनको मानता हूँ। निश्चल हृदय उस बहती हुई नदी की तरह, विशालता उस बड़े-बड़े पहाड़ों की तरह और सोच का साफपन, दिल की सच्चाई उनकी ऐसी है जिसकी तुलना हम सूर्य की किरणों से कर सकते हैं, जो उसे प्रकाशित करता है, अंधकार को मिटाता है। ऐसे माटी पुत्रों के लिए आज यहाँ पे इतना प्रबुद्ध वर्ग बैठा है, उनकी चिंता करने की, ये हमारे लिए गौरव का विषय है।
नेशनल लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी एक्ट जो है वो एक बुनियादी असूल के ऊपर बनाया गया है। हमारे समाज में कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं जो इस काबिल नहीं कि अदालत में जा सकें क्योंकि गरीब। तो आइडिया ये था कि लीगल एड दी जाए, कानूनी सहायता दी जाए, मदद की जाए उन लोगों की जिनको इस सहायता की ज़रूरत है। तो इस नज़रिए से, इस ऑब्जेक्टिव से, इस पर्पस से ये कानून बनाया गया। लेकिन एक वक्त आया जब हमने महसूस किया कि सिर्फ कानूनी सहायता देना, वकील मुकर्रर करना और थोड़ा सा मशवरा देना ही काफ़ी नहीं है। जब तक लोगों को ये वाकफियत ना हो कि उनका हक क्या है, तो तब तक कानूनी सहायता का मतलब नहीं। अच्छी बात तो ये होगी कि बजाय रायपुर में इस किस्म की कॉन्फ्रेंसेस उन जगहों पर हों जहाँ ट्राइबल्स की आबादी बहुत ज़्यादा है। यहाँ बैठ के बात करना अलग है, वहाँ जाके जहाँ लोग हैं उनके दरमियान बैठ के बात करना, उनकी बात सुनना और उनके एहसास, उनको ये फीलिंग दिलाना कि हम आपके लिए काम कर रहे हैं, वो दूसरी फीलिंग है। इस किस्म की कॉन्फ्रेंसेस जब भी ऑर्गेनाइज हों तो कोशिश की जाए कि ऑडियंस में ट्राइबल्स की इतनी तादाद हो, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा तादाद हो, ताकि आखिरकार वही तो टारगेट एरिया है।
The first ever State Conference of Judicial Officers of Chhattisgarh was organized by the High Court of Chhattisgarh in association with the Chhattisgarh State Judicial Academy earlier this year.
This is a historic occasion in the annals of the High Court of Chhattisgarh, as this is for the first time.
Attendees of the conference included Honorable Chief Justice of India, Chief Justice of Chhattisgarh and other judges of the High Court of Chhattisgarh and the Supreme Court. The guest speaker at the conference applauded the initiative taken by the organizers of the conference and stressed on the importance of such conferences in strengthening dialogue.
We thank you from the core of our heart for agreeing to come to Bilaspur to address this, the first ever state conference of judicial officers of the state of Chhattisgarh.
I always say it's easy to become a lawyer and easy to become a judge. But it is difficult to become a good judge and still difficult to become an outstanding judge. I remember one incident. It has actually happened in the American courts. One new Supreme Court judge took his wife to Supreme Court and said to her, "Today I am going to occupy this building and this courtroom and this chair on which 50 years before Justice Lord Kotzebue used to sit." The wife came in reply and said, "Dear, even after 50 years from tomorrow, the seat will always be remembered in the name of Lord Kotzebue and not by anybody's name." This is a great name that Lord Kotzebue has achieved in his career.
एक शायर हैं, सैफुद्दीन सैफ नाम है उनका, तो उसका एक शेर है, तुम जो आ जाओ तो नाच उठे इस रिमझिम की सदा, वरना ये रात ये बरसात कोई नई बात नहीं, अंदाज़े बयां रंग बदल देता है सैफ, वरना दुनिया में कोई बात नई बात नहीं। जैसे आप बात करते हो वही बात चीफ जस्टिस साहब ने कही है, शायद वही बात मैं भी करूं, लेकिन फर्क सिर्फ ये होगा कि अंदाज़े बयां अपना अपना है। इसलिए don't look for anything new when I talk to you as to how to become a good judge. I think it's already summed up by the Chief Justice, and I will only say I entirely agree with the Chief Justice that yes, what makes a good judge is honesty, sincerity, and you see patience and all. Honesty is not the monopoly of judges only. In every walk of life there are very, very honest people. That is why the system is good. But why is it important that a judge must be honest, is the question. Because if you are not honest, then you are a shopkeeper. So I don't think you can call a man a judge if he is a दुकानदार। अगर उसने अगर दुकान खोली है, जनाब इंसाफ बेच रहा है, तो वो किस बात का जज? He is not worthy of being even called a judge. Don't think कि अगर honest हो आप तो किसी पे एहसान कर रहे हो. This is a job which is divine. And this is a job in which you will have to, you see, live like a hermit and work like a horse. Tapasya, simple tapasya. I have practiced from the Munsif's court till the Supreme Court before I became a judge. वकील और मौक्कल का रिश्ता जो है ना, ऐसा रिश्ता है कि वो मौक्कल जो है वो अपनी बीवी को नहीं बताएगा कि मैंने जज साहब के साथ जनाब रिश्वत का काम कर लिया, फिक्स कर लिया, लेकिन वकील को जरूर आके बताएगा। वो कहेगा क्या बोल, ये नहीं बोलेगा कि मैंने जनाब जज साहब को रिश्वत, कि जनाब बस बाकी सब ठीक है, आपने खड़े होकर जनाब थोड़ी सी बहस करनी है, जनाब आप बाकी सब ठीक है साहब, बाकी सब, तो वही इंडिकेशन होगी। तो सब वकील जो हैं जानते हैं कि कौन जज जो है ऑनेस्ट है, कौन डिसऑनेस्ट। और मैं आपको बताऊं कि आज भी वो जज जो मुंसिफ थे, सब जज थे, डिस्ट्रिक्ट जज थे, कहीं मुझे मिलते हैं जब भी मैं जम्मू जाता हूँ, अपने शहर जाता हूँ, तो कहीं मिलते हैं, आते हैं, तो इंस्टिंक्टिवली माय हैंड्स फोल्ड बिफोर देम। यू रिस्पेक्ट देयर ऑनेस्टी। तो वो लोग जो ईमानदारी के साथ करते हैं वो पूजनीय होते हैं। when I was appointed as a High Court judge in 94, तो मैं कश्मीर से बेंगलोर जा रहा था ट्रांसफर. तो my father, who was himself a judge, he was a minister, governor रहे वो. तो दिल्ली में थे, वो प्रैक्टिस करते थे उन दिनों. तो उन्होंने कोई लंबा भाषण नहीं दिया मुझे जैसे मैं आपको दे रहा हूँ, ईमानदारी ये वो, ऐसा नहीं कोई बात. उन्होंने सोचा शायद इतनी अकल है इसमें कि ईमानदारी वगैरह तो ठीक ही है, लेकिन एक सेंटेंस का मशवरा उन्होंने दिया. बस एक सेंटेंस कहा उन्होंने, सुन लिया करो. बस इतना बोलो, सुन लिया करो. क्योंकि सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम जो है ना जज की, वो सुनने की है. सुनता ही नहीं जज. और कोई ऐसा जज, मैं आपको बताऊं, जो जज सुनने के लिए तैयार है ना, वकील को कोई परेशानी नहीं. वो कहता सब जज ईमानदार होना चाहिए और सुनने के लिए तैयार होना चाहिए. मेरा पॉइंट तो है, जज बस सुन ले मुझे तो मेरा जो केस है बहुत अच्छा है. ये न सुनने वाली बात जो है ना, इज आई थिंक द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम. आई डोंट नो, आप सब लोग मुझे बड़े सोबर, बड़े अच्छे जज लगते हो. हाँ, आप तो सुनते होगे. हाँ, हमारी तरह नहीं. सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जब आते हैं ना केसेस, तो हम तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं सुनते. वो मशवरा सुप्रीम कोर्ट में काम नहीं करता, क्योंकि अगर हम सुनने लगे ना लंबी बात, पहले मुंसिफ का फैसला, फिर डिस्ट्रिक्ट जज का, फिर हाई कोर्ट का, फिर डिवीजन बेंच का, 5 मुकदमे जो है ना, 5 फैसले, और फिर सुप्रीम कोर्ट में सुनवाई करे कोई लंबा वकील जनाब पिछला सारा सुनाना शुरू करे, तो हम दिन में एक केस भी ना सुन पाए. तो इसलिए हमें क्या करना पड़ता है, हमें खुद पढ़ना पड़ता है. इसलिए हम पढ़ के जाते हैं. पढ़ के जाने से इतना रहता है कि बस आप एक सवाल का जवाब मांगते हो, उसके पास अगर है तो केस एडमिट होता है, नहीं है इसका मतलब है कुछ नहीं है.
The 4th annual convocation of the National Law University, Delhi, was held at the university's auditorium.
I would like to thank our chief guest, Honorable Justice Thakur, for kindly gracing this occasion.
Honorable Justice J.S. Kehar, Judge, Supreme Court of India, was present as a visitor on this occasion. Honorable Justice G. Rohini, Chief Justice, Delhi High Court and Chancellor, NLU, Delhi, conferred the degrees. Shri Manish Sisodia, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, was the guest of honour on this occasion.
Dear graduating students, you have spent the formative and the most creative years of your life in this law school. I can see and share your joy and excitement. The cat calls say all about this, isn't it? It is obvious that you are all loaded with dreams, ambitions, and aspirations. While you step out of the portals of this law school ready to explore a multitude of opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. May God bless you all with the success in whatever you do. This university, who has shaped you for the struggle ahead, shall legitimately feel proud of the fact that you passed out from its portals to seek your destiny and all that goes with it. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Later at the event, the panel of guests jointly released the annual journal of the university, making the event memorable.
A national consultation titled Challenges in Mediation and the Way Forward was organized by the National Legal Services Association on the 1st of October this year at Dr. D.S. Kothari Auditorium, DRDO, New Delhi.
People get legal aid, and especially those who cannot afford economically or because of any disability. And we all are making Herculean efforts to see that that object is achieved.
The section 89 of the Code of Civil Procedure uses the word alternative dispute resolution system, and it has the concept of accessibility to justice inherent in it. I would like to put it, it's an additional resolution method by which justice is made and access to justice is accentuated.
Access to justice is important. And I always believe access to justice for the poor, underprivileged, is all the more important. Because they form the basic foundation of our democracy, from which emerges the shining concept of rule of law. Access to justice is important for the sake of good governance. Good governance and justice delivery are two important pillars to propel India into the top league of nations, which we are on the march.
The event, now etched in the history of NALSA, featured the launch of the website portal of NALSA, exhibiting a leap forward taken by the association. A befitting theme song, lyrically expressing the strengths of NALSA, skillfully produced by Messrs. Prakash Jha Production, was also released at the occasion.
एहसास न्याय का सबके लिए, आकाश न्याय का सबके लिए, उल्लास न्याय का सबके लिए, विश्वास न्याय का सबके लिए.
The legal aid constituency or the legal services constituency in the society are the poorer sections of the society, those who are below the poverty line. They are our constituency. They are the ones to whom you have to, reach out to. And it is in that context that we had thought of using the media in a big way. Doordarshan and All India Radio programs organized to reach out to the desired sections of our society, to spread awareness among them. But we also thought that there could be a theme song. We requested Mr. Prakash Jha, who is a very renowned film producer, and he has prepared a theme song. It is a theme song which inspires, but you have to see it from the point of view of those who are going to be the beneficiaries.
ये ना सोचो दर्द हमारा कहीं सुना न जाएगा, अब न्यायालय खुद चलकर चौपालों तक आएगा.
This song reflects in very simple words. You will see these people. We went to almost 20 states, and these are all casual shots which reflect true India and the hope and aspiration of these people.
Here we have a very interesting model of a federal constitution in India with, in fact, two different visions. One for the rest of the states and one for Jammu and Kashmir for historical reasons. Jammu and Kashmir, unlike the US and the Australian models, was given the power after our constitution came into force to frame its own constitution. A constituent assembly was separately set up for this state in 1952, and in 1957 they actually framed a constitution for themselves.
On 15th October 2016, Justice Deepak Mishra inaugurated the new building of Madhya Pradesh State Legal Service Authority at Jabalpur.
We go to people for legal aid camps, for legal awareness. If you have a grievance, you must litigate, and that can be solved. Solution is docket exclusion. Legal awareness to make them aware about their rights, fructify their rights, maybe docket inclusion. I do not intend to use the word docket explosion. Both are welcome, docket inclusion and docket exclusion by settlement. Therefore, we have to develop a settlement culture, and Madhya Pradesh must lead in settlement culture in the country.
The 7th of October 2016 marked the inaugural ceremony of an auditorium of the ICADR by the Honorable Chief Justice of India. Honorable Justice Anil R. Dave, Justice A.K. Sikri, and other judges of the Supreme Court were present at the ceremony. To elevate the dignity of the auditorium, a conference on institutional arbitration and challenges ahead was held at the venue, wherein eminent members of the body engaged in a constructive exchange of ideas and opinions.
Since independence, there has been a resolution which was moved in Lok Sabha by Mr. Chatterjee, Somnath's father, and he said we should have a speedy, inexpensive and substantial justice in India rather than these 19th century archaic laws. So there have been debates. So acting on unilateral resolution, we started implementing this. So the Prime Minister agreed to finance it, and I undertook to build this center.
What I want to say is only one thing, and let me start with some basic facts. Whether arbitration is going to stay, answer is yes. Whatever may be the criticism of the arbitration system, in commercial world and particularly international commercial world, arbitration is one mode of resolution of disputes which is still preferred.
Many of the arbitrators in our country are former judges. So they are good. We have got wonderful infrastructure, one. Number two, we have got fine arbitrators. I don't understand still why people think of going to Singapore. You earn money, mint money and go to Singapore, go to Japan, go anywhere as a tourist. You will really enjoy. Go to Shimla, go to Nainital, wherever you want to go. But why you go to a foreign country? I don't understand. Why do we take our money out? We know it very well that we are not very rich country. We don't have much foreign exchange. Why do we spend money? I fail to understand. Anyway, I'm sure that after seeing this infrastructure, I'm of the view that if somebody comes to me for any advice, of course, nobody would come to me because I'm a judge, but after I retire, I would say, don't go to Singapore for arbitration. Be here in our country, ICADR is very good.
In the light of what the future was likely to bring for India, that the need for providing an institutional mechanism for resolving disputes was felt, and the concept of ICADR was born. As one of the fastest growing economies, with globalization, its impact on our economy and our life, this is going to make a very major impact, not only on the general systems in the country, but particularly the judicial administration in this country. So when ICADR was conceived, perhaps it was prophetic at that stage to think that the Indian judicial system will in due course come under tremendous strain, and unless we devise and unless we innovate in terms of finding alternative modes of settlement of disputes, we may never be able to compete with other growing economies in the world. And that is precisely why the significance of ICADR, or this alternative dispute resolution mechanism, increases by the day. Having said that, may I say regretfully that although the beginning was great and the dedication and the sincerity of all those behind this concept was equally great, the success of ICADR has been not so flattering. In a period of 20 long years of its existence, ICADR dealt with just 49 cases. Now that is something which is very, very poor, if I may say, in terms of performance.
The 5th Dr. L.M. Singhvi Memorial Lecture was organized at New Delhi. Honorable Speaker of the Lok Sabha graced the occasion as the chief guest and former Solicitor General Mr. Soli Sorabji as the guest of honor.
L.M., as we popularly called him, was a man of many parts, was a resplendent personality. First, he was a lawyer. He was very kind to his opposing juniors. Then he was a linguist who spoke brilliantly, both in Hindi and English. He was a statesman who, as High Commissioner of India in the UK, enhanced the image of our country. And above all, he was a life trustee of the IRC, which is above everything else.
I'm extremely
Justice
honored
Deepak Mishra, Judge Supreme Court, delivered a lecture on Indian justice system thoughts for progressive orientation.
Annual Memorial Lecture. The Indian justice system is reflective of majestic legal order. It has a history that excites one to travel to the Vedic era. Reflection on the past has its relevance as it connects us to our past, especially the cultural foundation. We continue to harness such archaic principles in resolving issues concerning law and culture to prevent a conflict between the straitjacket principles of law and the traditional cultural values in society.
A landmark 3-day global conference, National Initiative Towards Strengthening Arbitration and Enforcement in India, was held at Vigyan Bhavan from 21st to 23rd October. The conference sought to promote the nation as a global hub for arbitration among international practitioners, corporate houses, and the Indian legal fraternity.
I welcome you all to this 3-day-long conference, National Initiative Towards Strengthening Arbitration and Enforcement
This was for the first time that the Government of India, through Niti Aayog, organized an important global conference. This conference received the support of 5 international arbitration institutions, several in-house industry associations, the Ministry of Law and Justice, Department of Industrial Policy and Promotions, NALSA, NILERD, ICADR, and other legal houses.
In order to develop India as a global hub for international arbitration, it is important that we open ourselves to the outside world and incorporate best practices for creating world-class institutional and legal procedures.
This conference will send a powerful message to the international business community. It will send a message that the Government of India is actively supporting international arbitration as a fair and legitimate means of resolving international disputes. And it will convey the message that India will soon become one of the main arbitration centers in Asia and globally.
We need to recognize the principle that arbitration, being a domestic dispute redress forum chosen by the contracting parties, contracts to be respected and therefore judicial intervention to be either minimal or virtually non-existent.
A resource book was released on this occasion.
I must mention that there is in some quarters a perception that courts in this country interfere with arbitral awards more than courts in other jurisdictions do. I take this opportunity to point out that this perception should no longer persist in view of some path-breaking pronouncements towards making India an arbitration-friendly destination.
We are gathered here today to set the stage for global conference that is aimed at providing an international platform to deliberate upon the future of arbitration in India.
The second day witnessed a keynote speaker session in which several panelists expressed their views on the subject, followed by day 3, during which an interactive session between the Honorable Chief Justices of various international judiciaries was scheduled. Valedictory session of this global conference was held on 23rd of October. Honorable Prime Minister, Chief Justice of India, Union Law and Justice Minister, Minister of Statistics and Program Implementation, Chairman NALSA, Attorney General of India, CEO Niti Aayog, and many other dignitaries were present on the occasion. Addressing the conference, Union Law Minister said,
Friends, an enabling alternate dispute resolution ecosystem is a national priority for India. We need to promote India globally as an arbitration hub. As Roscoe Pound famously remarked, the law must be stable, but it must not stand still. We need to take inspiration from beyond our shores. This conference has provided the ideal platform to deliberate upon the crucial regulatory policy and mindset reforms on this. I'm sure the deliberations here shall help in further strengthening arbitration in India and set a milestone in positioning India as a global hub for arbitration among international practitioners, corporate houses, and the legal fraternity. We look forward to effectively implementing your recommendations Thank you. Thank you very much.
Convocations, seminars, lectures, meeting foreign delegations, attending international conferences, all these weigh equally vis-a-vis court proceedings for the Supreme Court of India. Throughout the year, it spent a considerable amount of time rewarding excellence in the field of law, inspiring budding lawyers, and specially holding discussions on the challenges ahead to find their solutions, not only for a better India, but for a better world. One may recall the words of wisdom given to the country by the Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice T.S. Thakur, on life.
Life is a compendium of objects, means and obstacles. I think as mortal travelers in this world, we ought to leave behind an account of what we did, what we saw, what we observed, good, bad, indifferent, for the posterity to learn from it if there is anything worth learning.
This was indeed an eventful 2016. We shall now take your leave and look forward to meeting you next year to make your acquaintance with new news, new events and new functions and annual highlights. Until then, Namaskar, Jai Hind.